there's no such thing as overnight success. As it says, 10 years takes the overnight success. I've been consulting for over 10 years, and the last 6 months is the first time that I've actually made money consulting. What is happening, post-shifters? Welcome back to another post-shift shot. This week, I posted something on my Instagram a little while ago about entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship, and it got people a little decisive about, one, what it is, and two, what sort of category they fall into. Now, I'm going to preface this whole episode saying that I've been both. I'm currently an entrepreneur. I was an intrapreneur when I was with Clives. Still had that entrepreneurial aspect outside of Clives, but like, I've been both, and both comes with pros and cons. I am very aware of the pros and cons. Entrepreneurship, you have full freedom of do whatever you want, but it's really tough to put that structure on yourself, and I've worked really hard to structure myself to be able to achieve all the things I want, because I don't have any oversight. I don't have anyone going, hey, Soole, gotta get your fucking job done. On the flip side, I've been an entrepreneur, and that sometimes comes with a whole bunch of pros and cons as well. You've got salary or like stability when it comes to pay, but you tend to have to answer to people, or a lot of people, that may not understand your vision. And so there's pros and cons to both: structure, no structure, freedom, minimal, a bit of freedom. So both have a ton of like pros and cons to it. But the problem that I am seeing is that there is so much out there of people being entrepreneurs and not really understanding what they are doing. Now, entrepreneurship right now is so much faux bullshit. And if you Google entrepreneurship, or you watch one entrepreneurship video on Facebook or social media, of course your algo is going to go, oh, you like that? Blah, 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 blah. And just throw you entrepreneurship. And it's not necessarily always true. Anyone can be an entrepreneur with a trust fund. Anyone can be an entrepreneur when they live at home and parents are paying the bills. And that's what I tend to see a lot these days. And that awareness of what you actually are and want to be is something that is prolific. It isn't quick to define for yourself, and it's something you have to taste both of the things. If you're in your 20s and you're going, I don't know what I want to do, I'm not sure, like taste, jobs, like hobbies, online stuff, AI, gaming. Like my daughter loves gaming, and she would be a fantastic beta tester for games. Is that something you can get into? Yes. Is it something you can make money from? Hell yes. There's a niche for everything. And every time you think that your little geeky thing isn't niche, you'd be shocked at finding out that there is a niche for it. Whether it be collecting certain things, there's a whole market for it. And trust me, anything can be monetized. Entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship really sort of goes hand in hand with my it's okay to be a number two mentality, and that's going to be a separate episode. But entrepreneurship isn't champagne. It is freedom, but it's also late nights. And building my empire, which I've said myself, and people may listen to this and go, I'm a bit of a fraud, but like I've got a track record, I'm doing very well. But here's the truth. Most people don't actually want to be entrepreneurs. They just want autonomy without responsibility. And that goes back to that like structure, that responsibility, not having to answer anyone. And that's where the self-awareness comes in. So there's three hard truths. We romanticize entrepreneurship. Like I said, you watch one entrepreneur video on social media and your algo just spits out one after another. There is constantly, because I deal in the digital space, whether it be social media or marketing or design or anything like that, as soon as I start looking up stuff, I get deluged with entrepreneurial stuff. So Instagram and social media are the worst ones. Travel, collabs, fast growth, no boss. But real entrepreneurship is cash flow stress, payroll anxiety if you've got staff, vendor negotiations, personal guarantees. It is 90% problem solving and 10% celebration. And this can be applied to restaurant owners. Like if you want to go and open your own restaurant, understand you are not going to be the guy from Casablanca walking through with a smoking jacket, touching tables, kissing babies, and drinking Zazrax. That's not what entrepreneurship, especially in the hospitality space, is about. It's not about, like I see it all the time where I see like restaurants that are like slowly but surely suffering, and ownership is out on the town. And I'm like, but you've got a venue to run. You should be like, you can have work-life balance, but you need a venue. You have a venue to run. You're fundamentally missing steps on doing it because you just want the fun stuff, and it doesn't work like that. But if you love the 10% of that hard grind, then you can handle the 90%. It's that 10% return on 90% investment, which is the reason why hospitality entrepreneurship is so fucking hard. Is that 90% grind, the 10% returns. And it's really, really hard to do that, and do that for a long period of time. There's no such thing as overnight success. As it says, 10 years takes the overnight success. I've been consulting for over 10 years, and the last 6 months is the first time that I've actually made money consulting. One, I used to give away a lot of my free time. Two, I used to do deals for everybody, so I wanted to help everybody. This is the first time I'm actually making a profitable business, and that's 10 years. 10 years of like on and off slogging, 6 months in Singapore in 2019, that sort of thing. The second big problem is that we undervalue intrapreneurs. So an entrepreneur is someone who thinks like an owner, innovates inside a company, and drives growth without owning equity. It's just built into their DNA to help the business they're a part of grow and succeed. And hopefully, and it's something I think we miss in hospitality as well, is that ownership group or that owner will see that and then start bringing them in on equity, shares, that sort of thing. And I think that's the big key. So they're great operators, they're creative GMs, they're forward-thinking beverage directors, but they're in the structure. They can build multi-million-dollar revenue lines, but for someone else's company. And that is not a small feat. Like, doing your job. So if you do it as an entrepreneur, you're like innovative and like pushing the boundaries and so on and so forth. If you do it as an entrepreneur, you're sort of not seen as the same way. And it's not a small act to build someone else's business from the ground up. There is plenty of people out there who have been with businesses for 10, 15 years and have built it inside out. And the industry doesn't do well without them. There is GMs and there is entrepreneurs throughout the hospitality industry that are building your business. As an owner, I want you to take stock of who in your business is doing this and make sure you're looking after them, because they're the ones that are going to keep your business going. How many times have you seen a GM get let go or quit because of stress or burnout or whatever, and the business tanks after that because the person who was above them didn't look after them? And it's because they don't own the place. They just feel ingrained that they want to be successful, and you can do that on the back. We confuse ego with calling. This is a good one. So many people want to build something of their own, but when you ask that, are you ready to risk your savings? Are you ready to sign a lease? Are you ready to be personally liable, which I'm going through right now? Entrepreneurship is not a personality trait, it's a risk tolerance profile. And that's okay. Self-awareness is more powerful than ego. You can build something within a company, and especially if ownership, even if the ownership is entrepreneurial and you have entrepreneurial people with you, that symbiosis of those two personality types will make you succeed exponentially. And it's something that, unless you look after the people that are doing that for you, you can shoot yourself in the foot, but you can really build something. And the amount of times that it's the same thing as that number, going back to number two, it's okay to be a number two and have someone do the hard yards for you to do a portion of like the ecosystem that is your venue. So let's do some solutions. 3 realignments. If you're thinking, I want to go do something myself, I want to build something myself, that's awesome. Ask yourself, do I want control or influence? If you want control in your life, that's inward. That's making sure that you're controlling everything that's around you and inside you to control the situation, or influences. Entrepreneurs trade stability for control. Entrepreneurs trade ownership for leverage. But both can make money, both can build legacy, but the pressure is very different. If you're not worrying about payroll and you're not worrying about XYZ, you can really build something fantastic as an entrepreneur. if those are the things that really keep you up at night, that's entrepreneurship, because it's that risk adverse sort of mentality and personality type. But be honest with your appetite. Like if you're going to quit a really good job as a bartender, become a bar owner, bar manager to become a bar owner, really be honest about what your stress level can be. Can you control yourself when you've got a huge amount of stress that you can't necessarily talk to anyone about, because that's the hardest thing. Entrepreneurship is very, very lonely. It's very, very rare that you can find a partner or a person that you can like lean on and share those stresses with. So can you do that? If you're an entrepreneur, negotiate like one. This is great. If you drive revenue, ask for bonuses tied to KPIs, ask for profit share, ask for growth pathways, be aware of what you want. Again, hospitality people don't do this. If you're a GM of a restaurant and you can do tangible KPIs and bring that to ownership, you can negotiate like an owner. Don't pretend you're just staff. If you can really push things, and again, owners go in ownership down. If you see this, if you see someone with an entrepreneur style attitude, really feed it, tell them, like, give them structure, give them mandates, give them KPIs, but really feed that sort of level and give them some rope. Like, give them some rope. You might be surprised. That's not ego, that's alignment. That's a big one, is that you're aligning with the goals of a venue. You're not doing it out of ego. You're doing it out of, this is the job I've got, and this is the best way I'm going to do this job. I'm going to do the job the best I possibly can, and that is the true nature of entrepreneurship. I try and track down entrepreneurs as much as possible for either my right hands, management, leaders, because they're the ones that I know are going to keep me dynamic. And as entrepreneur and ownership, that keeps me dynamic, or as another manager. And that pushes my element of ownership and my ownership of operations to a different level. And it pushes me and pushes me and pushes me. And so I try and find people who are going to feed my entrepreneurial success, and also people that I can feed them into the entrepreneurial success that I want from them. If you're an entrepreneur, stop fucking complaining. Like, you can't say praise freedom and praise like jewelry and blah blah fucking blah blah, all the faux bullshit that we deal with. Like, I had someone talk about how entrepreneurs should dress, and I was like, I'm constantly gonna be wearing my own swag. I'll most likely wear a hat as often as possible, and I'm probably in a fucking hoodie. That's gonna be the way it is. I'm all black all the time. I'm not gonna change that. If I start making $1 million a year or make fucking $60,000 a year, the way I dress is not gonna change. But you chose this. So don't complain when the business is not doing well. Figure out a plan. You chose the lease, you chose the risk, you chose the 2 a.m. anxiety, you chose the 6 a.m. supplier emails. But also be super grateful that you are in a position that you are getting the things that you asked for. And this is a big thing. It's like, shouldn't we all be grateful for the things we asked for? Shouldn't we all be grateful that we're busy as hell? Shouldn't we all be grateful that our staff are happy, but we're working 60 hours a week? I think we should be more grateful for what we've received as entrepreneurs. And that's a big mental shift. So stop looking for sympathy when it comes to complaining about an entrepreneur. Start building your systems. Fuck, I talk about systems. 2026 is about the year of the systems. And everybody, entrepreneurs down, ownership down, should have systems. There's no reason why you can't have systems these days. So, closing challenge. If someone removed the title, would you still want the responsibility? Would you still want to be the GM of a restaurant if you were just a manager? Would you still want to be owner? Would you still want these titles, this cachet around it? Because that's the real test. Entrepreneurship isn't cooler. Entrepreneurship isn't safer. They're just different games. Pick the one that actually built for, and be aware of what you're built for. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, this is not what I should be doing. If you're in your 20s, in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, you've still got time to reset. There is no reason why you have to stay on the same trail, the same trajectory as you set out on to do what you want to do. If you're at a business that you're not happy with, leave, start your own, leave, get a better job. There are so many options you can do just to be happy and to pull this all into one thing. Success is happiness. It's not money, it's not cars, it's not jewelry, it's not Instagram followers. It is happiness. And if you're not happy in a job, if you're not happy in your ownership position, change it up and be happy, but be aware on how these things change. And on that note, thanks as always for the support, guys. See you soon.
All right, post shifters, that's it for now. Keep your standards high, your spirits neat, and your team tighter than your forecast. Catch you next week on the Post Shift Podcast.